you, my grad students? Motivated as usual? Today we are going to study how to interpret two sentences with one subject and with the particle wa or ga. Are you ready? Good luck! Well, by the way, having said two sentences or phrases, in reality, they are too close. You can send one message using too close. For example, in a sentence, タクシーが来ましたから私は帰ります。There's a message, I'm going home, and two clauses, because the taxi came and I'm going home. Through these two clauses, we can send the main message, I'm going home. Look at this example. ご飯を食べたら私は2階へ行きます。There is a subject, 私 and this. 私がご飯を食べたら母は2階へ行きます。There are two subjects, 私 and 母. And this time we learn one subject in two clauses. And so, depending on which clause the subject is in and the particle chosen, we end up with 4 sentences. But what is the difference? To think about the difference or differences, we need to pay attention to, firstly, the number of subjects, secondly, the meanings of wa and ga, and thirdly, the given context. And thanks to these 3 factors, we can have the total nuance of the sentence. So, the number of subjects, isn't it 1? We've been saying that all along this time, one subject in 2 clauses. Yes, but no, because there is the invisible subject in Japanese. What is the invisible subject? In Japanese, the subject disappears when we know who is speaking, we know who we are talking to, we know whom or what we are talking about. There's a video on this topic, so watch it after this lesson. So, do you see this example? ご飯を食べたら私は2階へ行きます。It looks like this sentence can have the second subject, which is invisible in the first clause. But of course, there is a sentence that can only have one subject. So, as you see on the screen, when there is a subject with a particle wa in the first clause, there is no second subject. Otherwise, we can have the invisible second subject. And now we have to think about the second factor, the meaning of the particle wa and ga. Have you already watched my video on this? If not, watch that to understand it well. You can find a link in the description. But very briefly, the meanings of wa are term, judgment, declaration, explanation, comparison, minimum, goal. And the meanings of ga are mandatory ga, so after the question word as subject and answer for it. And phenomenon, exclusivity, choice, responsibility of the subject. And the third factor, the given context. This factor is very important because it determines the number of subjects. So, whether there is an invisible subject or not, if the sentence allows it. And the meaning of wa or ga. And the total nuance of the sentence composed of 2 clauses. For example, if the number of the subject is 1 And if the given context is like, I was asked what I will do after eating a meal, and the meaning of what is them. The sentence 私はご飯を食べたら2階へ行きます has the nuance like after eating a meal, I'll go up to the first floor. Another example, if the number of the subject is 1 and the given context is like I was asked who among several people would go up to the first floor after eating a meal, and the meaning of what is comparison. The sentence ご飯を食べたら私は2階へ行きます has the nuance as after eating a meal, me, I'll go up to the first floor. And another example with the same sentence we just saw. If the number of the subject is 2, so is one visible subject and another invisible subject. And the given context is like, I was asked, who among several people will go up to the first floor if X ate a meal? And the meaning of what is declaration. The sentence, ご飯を食べたら私は2階へ行きます has the nuance as, after X has eaten a meal, I'm sure I'm go up to the first floor. And another example, mind you, now that the visible subject is in the first clause with the particle ga. If the number of subjects is 1 and the given context is like I was asked who will go up to the first floor after eating a meal, and the meaning of ga is mandatory ga. So after the question, word has subject and answers for it. The sentence 私がご飯を食べたら2階へ行きます has a nuance. I am the one who will go up to the first floor after eating a meal. And another example with the same sentence and with the second subject which is invisible. So if the number of the subjects is 2 and the given context is like I was asked when X would go up to the first floor and the meaning of ga is phenomenon, the sentence 私がご飯を食べたら2階へ行きます has the nuance like after I eat a meal, X go up to the first floor. And the last sentence, if the number of the subject is 1 and the given context is like I was asked who will go up to the first floor after eating a meal, and the meaning of ga is responsibility of the subject. The sentence ご飯を食べたら私が2階へ行きます has the nuance as I take responsibility for going up to the first floor after eating a meal. And the same sentence with the invisible second subject. If the number of the subject is 2 and the given context is like I was asked who will go up to the first floor after X ate a meal, and the meaning of ga is exclusivity. The sentence ご飯を食べたら私が2階へ行きます has the nuance like it's me and not others. I am the one who will go up to the first floor after X ate a meal. Where's the resume? So when there are one subject on the surface and 2 clauses, the given context determines the number of subjects if there are 2, the meanings of particle wa or ga, and the total nuance of the sentence. If the subject and the particle wa are in the first clause, there is only one subject, otherwise there may be the second subject which is invisible. So how do you interpret the following 4 sentences? Try it. And that's the end of this lesson. お疲れ様でした。If this course was useful, click like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. See you soon in a future video. Bye.